This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth, and I wanted to bring some information forward to you today about the beach renourishment process that's going on now. Also, with the numbers for today, the tidal activity and the moon, I wanted to show you some of the numbers for that, the tidal amounts. This is at Sea Mountain Highway in Cherry Grove, South Carolina. And now I'm panning towards the Myrtle Beach skyline, which is right over this way. You're looking at a sea level liquid mirror. That was part of the wonder that I found in this location, is how the water reflects the structures, the people. It's a liquid mirror. This is going to be spectacular, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom on down there. According to Job 37, the sun is actually in the midst of the clouds, as it quite often appears. I've got a lot of content that I'll hashtag local sun, and it covers that. Definitely not 93 million miles away. Obviously, in the clouds is much, much closer. So that is the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier in the middle of the view. And the Prince Resort is right there. Noticed it looks a little bit slanted on the reflection. Well, because the reflector is slanted, the sand is slanted. I've got a bullseye bubble level. I'll show it to you. It's very precise, very precision. And you can get one of those if you care to. I was out too zoomed in. But it's very effective at leveling surfaces, cranes, and, well, seeing what tip the beach is. We're looking at like a 1 to 2% grade of this beach right in front of us. I've checked that out. So like some of the mountains are like a 7 to 12% grade. Mountain roads, I should say. The mountains are much more than that. The lighting is absolutely spectacular. How the interaction of the sun through the clouds, the silhouette of that cloud right there, just beautiful. So the biblical cosmology and reality, as stated, is the sun and the moon move a course above the stationary earth. God set the boundaries of the waters so that trillions of dollars of structures are built all around the world, all around the coastlines. With the beach renourishment process, they'll use sophisticated methods of computer technology, mixing sand, water, and sand, salt water, and air. A combination of that, powered by diesel and and that to move the sand up on the beach and move it around with diesel electric bulldozers. Like diesel electric is the technology used for a lot of locomotives now. And they can move the equivalent of 1,500 dump truck loads full in about 45 minutes. There's no way that that could be accomplished with trucking locally. It's just not even remotely possible. So the reason why I mention that is ships have been used to move people and products for ages, a long time. And that's one of the reasons for coastal development. The light of the sun moving across the mostly flat sand, there's a little bit of a grade to it. That is definitely one of the clues of the shape of the world that we live in. The water covers the face of the earth and seeks level. It's not concave, it's not convex, it's mostly flat. We've got mountains that rise out of the continents, but the continents rise up out of the ocean. Scripture talks about them like a clay seal. God compassed this world as the continents rising out of the water, much like a clay seal, like an emperor or a king, royalty would put the seal of their identity on their document. God is evident within His creation as His word states. So the physical attributes, many of them of the Creator, I believe He's known to most people as Jesus, whether they like that name or not. His Hebrew reference would be Yeshua. You can call Him Yahweh, you can call Him whatever you want. I just believe that it's important, most important to actually be born of God's Spirit. That's the most important reality. The keeping of the Torah, Hebrew roots movement, as many call it, is not going to end people in heaven if they're not born again. You've got to be born again. I'm not saying you can't use His Hebrew reference. I'm simply saying you must be born of God's Spirit, as Scripture says. So the keeping of feast days and all that, there's a form of legalism that has typically and historically been in basically like almost all religions. We can't be good enough to be actually born of the Spirit. Actually, the way I understand it works is that the names of all God's children were put in the Lamb's Book of Life before the foundation of the world. Well, before any of us were born, of course. Certainly before I made a mess out of my life and asked for help. So I'm grateful to be truly born again. I noticed a reflection on the horizon. I'll shoot on to that. It's the skyline. One of the buildings is reflecting the light of the sun there. You can see that. There's tidal activity. One of the reasons why I am not interested in participating in any laser tests in Myrtle Beach is simply because we've got a lot of tidal activity here. It can give definitely a false reading over the water. You can go to the Tides Near Me app and see how the tidal activity at the Myrtle Beach Airport is. That's a location that's, you know, like 25 miles from here. It's a big difference in the in the tidal activity from Cherry Grove here. Cherry Grove, also known as North Myrtle Beach. The X axes is the horizon, which is horizontal, and 8 inches per mile squared can't be found anywhere in the world except in the imaginations of those that are deceived. So it's not that everybody's keeping the global secret, they're just deceived, and by irony and paradox they don't know it. So that's how that works. Satan is the deceiver. Satan will use who and what he can, and God uses it all, including Satan. How about that? 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says to everybody, forever they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. So from what I understand, that's saying God is going to help people believe the lie they apparently want to believe. Satan and a third of the angels were cast out of heaven before, cast to the earth. There was a rebellion that occurred. And then a commingling of humanity and fallen angels accounted for in Genesis 6. I also believe that the book of Enoch is worthy of consideration. Jesus spoke very highly of Enoch, as well as Jude did also. And there's a lot of reference there about the earth, the world that we live in, the celestial bodies. And then, even if we didn't have the book of Enoch, there's abundant evidence of the non-movement of the earth in the canon of Scripture, Old and New Testament. For example, in the Gospel of Luke, it was recorded that Jesus spoke he was on a level place. To be clear, and I want to tell you this, I believe it's reality. There would be no level if we were moving in 4 different directions or any direction at all, spinning, wobbling, gyrating. There would be no level. There would be no true plumb or vertical. Wind chimes can't hang upside down. None of that. We wouldn't have beach renourishment and bulldozers and beach sweepers running upside down in relationship to other ones. And that's where the globe leads, upside down. Because of all the supposed movement, and they say that there's a force called gravity that actually it's a deceptive force. The only supposed evidence for the globe is science fiction. They're making it up. It's a lie. And what we have are celebrated individuals that'll give us a false narrative on the world that we live in. Supposed scientific fact that contradicts what the Bible clearly says. So, is the Bible a science book? Well, God is all-knowing. Omniscience is spelled like omniscience. That's what it looks like. The ability to know everything. Walking off into the sunrise. So people reflect off of the sand. They reflect on their lives, their futures, their hopes, their regrets. When the truth becomes more important than the making the other person happy, a lot of times there's a separation. I talk about that. There's the truth and then everything else. I believe that God, who created this world, the great I am, the Alpha and Omega, the living Word, the living water, the bread of life, He determines the truth, not popular opinion. Quite frankly, the truth is not that popular with many. I dare say with most. They may give lip service to it, and I believe that's where it ends. So what I'm endeavoring to do with my YouTube channel that I call Truth is to expose the reality of the world that we live in. It's a reality show. You're in it. You're in this reality, whether you like it or not. Some people want to escape from what they see, how they see the reality or this world. I do believe that reality and truth are interchangeable. So the couple walking there heard some of what I said, and they saw my shirt. Will they go to my channel? Could be. I don't know. So what I'm able to do is to leverage worldwide instantaneous portable communications and the technology and the internet, all of that, as well as many of my friends, to expose the truth. And that's what I'll keep on doing. In the relationship with that, in the context of that activity, there's a lot of people that will come up and talk to me. Right there, you're looking at the pipe that a stream of water and sand will come out of later on. And right now, people are able to get really close to it. These shots won't be able to be captured once there's water on the hill. That's what they call it. When they radio in and say water on the hill, man, you don't want to have your face anywhere near that or be anywhere near that pipe, because out of that pipe will come a roughly 1,500 dump truck load equivalents of sand, and that's only 40% of the mix. 60% of that, then more of that will be water. It's a massive amount of sand and water that comes out. So on some of the video, I show the articulated loader like that moves the pipe. The diesel electric cat, a D7E, is a diesel powered, and then electric motors move the tracks. There's computer technology to help it create a level surface. The crab, as it's called, will be going out into the ocean and taking measurements. Here we've got the cat articulated loader and the pipe that will be assembled to move the sand around, the sand and water. And one of the main reasons for that is to change the shape of the beach, to create a little more elevation here, because the storms and the way that this is shaped, the water moves the sand around, erodes it, And I'm going to zoom on down on the coastline and just show you the billions and billions of dollars of structures that people will come to stay in to enjoy the beauty of this, to go for those walks on the beach, to enjoy commemorating a honeymoon or a family vacation, or memorializing the life of a loved one that has passed away. Roughly 3 people per second worldwide no longer have the human experience. We're all eternal beings having a temporary human experience. Wanted to show you how silly the upside down world looks, especially with bicycles and also just walking on the beach. Yeah, the upside down world exists only in the imagination. Notice the slanted reflection. Like I say, there would be no level, and then correspondingly there would be no vertical, perfectly vertical if we were moving. The wind moves, the water moves, the sun and the moon and stars move, people move. The earth, she doesn't move. We're expecting about 20 million guests here this year. That thick band of clouds should be pretty interesting. It depends on how the placement of what density of cloud and what is in the cloud to give the appearance that the sun is in the midst of it. Sometimes it's just too bright to show you. It looks like that might be the case now. Good morning. Because of lighting, the reflections are really pretty when the sun is low on the horizon, either rising or setting. That's part of the dynamic. So higher is drier and lower is wetter all around the face of the earth, the stationary earth. The air here is really fresh. Typically, I just love it. I love living here. It's a mission field that comes to us. And I have an outreach that's worldwide and all year around, perpetually. There's people that love and hate what I do. There's not a whole lot of in between. Not a whole lot of undecided. Isn't that special? It's actually fun being me. I get to do what I want because Jesus created me to do what you watch me doing. If you're watching this now, or go through my contact information, my profile. The Facebook link is on my YouTube channel header, and I do what I can to try and maximize my outreach with Twitter and Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I'm doing a little bit more on. I'll probably be Snapchatting. I'm on it. I've been seen roughly, well, many millions of times, more than 30 million times. People have heard me say, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? I'm rock solid. We don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello. It's just water seeking its level. That doesn't make any sense. That's what PewDiePie said. Oh, he's got millions of views, and so does Logan Paul. That doesn't mean these guys are telling the truth, because they're not. They're a part of the deception. And for years they have taken the world comedians with all their different demographics that they appeal to reach humanity, to deceive, to give a false reality, to laugh at the truth, to mock it. I'm here to expose it. Now, just in the short time that I've been here and I panned over, we didn't see the light hitting the lighthouse the way it is now. That's pretty spectacular. Lighthouses are a clue. They have a light on them, and they can be seen way, way further away than we're supposed to out at the ocean, in the ocean, with the supposed 8 inches per mile squared. That's just the reality of that. Reality and truth are interchangeable. For the most